Has he started?
Start again.
He had a head start. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if no one has any objections, let's take regular agenda item 4 first. Consideration of a presentation and discussion of the procurement of a supervisory control and data acquisition system upgrades project.
Good evening, Commissioners, and thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate the opportunity to go over this project with you.
Okay.
Yeah, just turning the mic on.
So what this project is it's an upgrade project to our existing SCADA system, or supervisory control and data acquisition system. Over the past few years, it's more and more out of date. We started off initially with more of a software upgrade. As we worked through that process and developed the project, it was apparent that we needed to do more than that. We needed to actually get into the rest of the system, the controls, the PLCs. So what the SCADA system is it's our system that is housed at the water treatment plant. It oversees, or it's the instrumentation and monitoring for the 9 water sites, as well as our 14 existing sewer lift stations and 3 existing stormwater pump stations. As I mentioned before, the majority of the equipment is becoming obsolete. It's a proprietary system, so when we do have to repair, we're bound to that manufacturer as well as that company. So it's not very competitive. We have to basically go with their prices. So as we moved into that, like I said, we looked at primarily, or initially, we were looking at software options. That led to, well, if we go with that, we're going to have to upgrade PLCs and other equipment, and it just made a whole lot more sense to go about it this way. This is similar to a design build process. There's also a lot of redundancy if we would have went out and had it engineered, and then basically we would have had to go back and do the same thing with the same company who are engineers. They would have had to resubmit the same thing. So it just made a lot more sense to go with this procurement. So what we were looking for, as I mentioned, is a non-proprietary system, and that's what the hardware and the devices will be upgraded to. As we went through, as we developed the RFP, as we mentioned, we were looking for something more user-friendly, something that was going to be utilized. Also, the current system, anytime you have to go in and make changes to programming, right now you literally have to send an instrumentation tech site to site to update those programs as well. The new system will provide basically a plug and play to where he can do it remotely. A program, whether it's for the sewer sites or the storm sites or the water, they can go in, plug it in, and send it out over the network. This also includes network, or it's really antenna upgrades. It's going to provide redundancy. Right now, what the plant suffers shutdowns to the system. If a site goes down, they're linked and they don't, basically breaks the loop. So they're down. They have to go out, get a instrument tech on site and monitor the system while it's down, and and try to keep things going. This will provide a better loop and redundancy to where they can bounce off the other antennas and stay up aside from that one site that's being affected. So as we went through, like I said, this is almost a year-long process. We started the RFP, went out for request for proposals, advertised between March, the beginning and end of March. We had 6 proposals. We had staff from the water treatment plant, Public Works, and then Public Works Facilities Management on the reviewing and grading the proposals. All of the firms actually, aside from one, proposed Wonderware as the software solution. So it was pretty unanimous what software side, what we wanted to go with. And then the other side of it was, so E&M, DBA, Wonderware, they just had the most complete package. They paid attention during the process. We had a lot of site walks and coordination meetings, and it was just the most complete. It also cuts out another level of a subcontractor, so there was cost savings there. This project also grew over time, as I kind of mentioned, from software to hardware integration as well. But it's also picking up additional sites that don't have monitoring right now. They have controls and alarming, but they, in some sort of storm event or sewer event, you may have to send a tech out to keep an eye on it and, intermittently and just keep an eye on things. So this will bring all of our current sites into the system, as well as it's completely scalable for the future. It's also, what was also appealing is the possibility of smart city infrastructure. So Wonderware's system platform actually has all those kinds of those options and the abilities to do that. They've actually done that for other cities to integrate lighting, irrigation, all those other modules, basically bring them in. And Wonderware serves as a control platform. Other departments have looked at that. They're interested, and this will give us the ability to look at that in the future, or even bring a module in at a time on a trial basis. With that, in regards to funding, what we worked with finance during this project, and a lot of their recommendations were to bundle this and bring it forward as a bigger project. All the funding is currently in the CIP in one project or a component of a water project. We've basically just gone through and reprioritized, and so there's no additional cost to the CIP. It's just a matter of bringing in the SCADA project earlier than expected. In the budget, we initially started off with more, like I mentioned, the software side of things. So I think the initial budget was about $500,000 to get the software integrated, and then they were going to just bring other pieces into it, bring in the network with future budgets. So what they're doing now is we'd just be raising priorities. The funding's there, so there'd be no additional burden at this time. We'll have to reprioritize projects later and bring those other ones back in, basically back into the queue. But aside from that, that's really the overview on the project. We just wanted to bring it to the commission tonight, get any other feedback or input or any other things you may see or questions about the project, and before we move it forward and take it on to city council. So Like the E&M or Wonderware California is here, as well as our water plant operator, so, or superintendent. So if there's any questions or any comments?
I suppose I'll start. Thank you for your explanations. Has the city done work before with E&M or Wonderware? I don't know how these companies are related to each other, so I'm just curious.
I don't believe so, other than we've done some studies since they ranked number one. There's been some additional work we've had to do leading up to it. So far, like the radio study or the antenna study, signal study, that's all that I'm aware of, unless you guys.
Okay. And do you know, or maybe they can speak for themselves, have they been doing any work here in the region, or are there any other systems that we can check on? I'm not familiar at all with this world, in terms of contractors.
Yeah,
But
you'll come on
let's-
up and.
You go ahead. Okay. Sure. Yeah, so my name's Mike Lapitan. I'm with Wonderware California. I'm a solutions architect. I've been supporting Wonderware customers for the last 12 years. And so we represent Wonderware for California here in the state of California. There's over 500 water and wastewater utilities that have Wonderware SCADA systems here in the Sacramento area. State of California Department of Water Resources is standardized on Wonderware to manage the California State Aqueduct. So that's a local reference here. We've got quite a few others here in the area, from El Dorado Irrigation District to Tahoe. Chucky Donner just presented at our user conference in Elk Grove a couple weeks ago.
City of Lodi, City of Gulf.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the list of 500 if you like. I have that.
No. Just,
But yeah, Sacramento Suburban Water District, UC Davis.
San Juan Water,
okay.
Yeah,
Airport.
yeah.
And what's the relationship between E&M and Wonderware, and how does that work?
Sure. So yeah, E&M Electric is a company that's based out of Healdsburg, Sonoma County, and we've been around since 1955, and we've been the exclusive Wonderware distributor since 1992. So we provide training, technical support, and services for Wonderware SCADA solutions. There's other business units of E&M. In 1955, they started as an electric motor repair shop. That's still a part of our business, but we also do the PLC industrial control hardware side of industrial automation as well. So Wonderware California specifically around the SCADA part of the industrial automation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So in reviewing your staff report, it looks like, or the impression I have is that the amount of the bid wasn't necessarily factored into how these projects or these contractors were ranked. Where did Wonderware's bid fall in relation, in terms of cost, compared to the other bidders?
They were on the higher side, but their proposal was way more comprehensive. It captured all the things we were looking for. Others weren't. Others may have been lower, but they just were missing items. They were missing features or options. Some even limited the software package, like basically put in an allowance and didn't completely work the system or provide the architecture. So that's why we selected them. Also on the finance and IT side, we didn't just want the lowest bid. We wanted the best product, the best proposal. And that's why you're seeing it come in this type of procurement. That's really a services contract, because it allowed us to craft the contract this way with an RFP versus a traditional low bid project. So yeah, all those things were factored in when we compared them side by side and added in the other things that the others were missing. They were very competitive. They were right there with the other folks.
So even if this had been a competitive bidding process, Wonderware, it sounds like Wonderware would have been really the only responsive bidder.
Yes, yeah, they would have been the most responsible bidder, so.
I'll just add one thing too, is that when we were working with Chris, the thing that the water department was most interested in, one of the things you were most interested in was that longevity. And Wonderware is known for, being around for over 30 years. And
has to go to the
having
mic.
that, that accessibility and that longevity. If you'd started on,
You need to.
maybe come up there?
Yeah, they can't hear you.
Yeah, because the video
for the
doesn't
record.
capture
Okay.
it on TV.
Okay, so they're known for, being around for over 30 years, and if you developed 30 years ago on Wonderware, you can still move forward, you can still migrate forward, where they were running into a problem where if you wanted to move forward on versions, you were going to have to redevelop. And so we're the only SCADA company out there that can actually say that. And that was something that was really important to these guys, so just wanted to add that in.
And there is, as Sherry said, there's very few software packages like this that are universal. Most of them are proprietary. There's really maybe 2 or 3 like Wonderware. And that's, we did want to have that, be able to do that though, build a universal system and not be completely locked in. So if anything did happen in the future, we could go to another HMI or network-based solution. So that's what is included in this proposal as well, is upgrades to all those sites that will give us that ability, rather than trying to do a software solution. And then, one of the other alternatives was the current vendor, wanted to replace things basically as they broke, which just wasn't advantageous. We'd still end up with a piecemeal system that down the road, we'd probably be back in the same boat in 10 years or so, so.
So how old is the existing CIP?
The existing CIP is 1718, although there is some rollover from a couple previous projects that had surplus, so that we have a couple substantial surplus from filter replacement project, and there was one other one, I don't have it in front of me. We're working on the resolution for that piece right now with finance to bring that resolution together and put it all into one CIP or one work order number right now, so.
So was there, if the CIP is only 1 fiscal year old, was there some sort of event that made city staff think, oh gosh, we really got to reprioritize this, or would you say this was something that was missed in the development of the previous CIP?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, the previous CIPs were just kind of there was more of a maintenance piece to it, but it was a series of events, from what I understand, that throughout the last year previous to the 17-18 fiscal year, they just had a lot of downtime, and you were having a tough time getting people out. Yeah, come on up.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm the water treatment superintendent for the city. I have about 30 years working. I started off with distributed control systems, which were highly proprietary at the time, and moved my way through many, many different SCADA projects in my water treatment career. So when I came in, I was evaluating the water master plan and looking at the CIP projects for the city, what we might need to do. And I looked at the SCADA system as it was, and we do have, it's a fairly okay system. It's not one of the better ones out there. The proprietary part of it really bothered me because we're kind of tied to the contractor, the vendor that put it in the first place. We started having PLC failures. We have a lot of network issues out in the city that actually basically funnel back through to the water treatment plant. So the water treatment plant is the office space for the system, and we have one radio control system at the PSIP water pump station that communicates. If we lose either link, the one at the water plant or the one at the PSIP, we lose the whole city, so we're blind to the whole city, and that's all the sewer systems, stormwater systems, and the water pump stations. So that doesn't mean they stop working, it just means we can't see them, and they don't get the alarm call-outs that they need. So one of the things that I looked at, because we had 3 failures at the PSIP pump station of that communication link since I've been here, and we expect to have more just because the infrastructure is so old. So I looked at all those components, and I went to my boss at the time, which was Dan Mount. We started discussing looking at upgrading the SCADA system. After he left, it went over to Denix. We talked to finance about it, and we were just going to do the water plant, and finance actually redirected us. They said they didn't want us to take a piecemeal portion of the SCADA project to council and then come back a year later saying we needed to upgrade other components of it. So that's one of the reasons why it got to be such a big project. So I hope that helped.
It does, thank you. It sounds prudent. Do we have other questions?
Yes, I don't want to belabor this or anything, but where did the other projects lose out and what was reprioritized? Are you familiar with that shuffle? And is there a plan for getting those parts of the CIP back online or addressed in the years to come? I mean, how have you guys addressed this?
So one of the bigger projects is our sludge collection system, which is about 20 years old, and it's going to need to be renovated. They had only looked at renovating a portion of the sludge collection system, but that's kind of where the majority of the money is, because I looked at that system, and my maintenance staff that I have currently can keep that system running efficiently probably for the next couple of years. So it gives us a couple of years to look at redirecting or coming up with new CIP money for that system when it's going to need to be upgraded. That's the biggest portion of it. Then plus he mentioned we had leftover monies from the filter replacement project. We had leftover monies from the sodium hypochlorite project that we completed in 2017. And I have a couple of pump projects that actually got rerouted because my maintenance staff actually went out, pulled all the pumps. We fixed them in-house, got them all recoated, reprimed, put them back in the ground. So we were able to roll those pump stations into the CIP for the SCADA project. So we have an instrumentation SCADA. It's in the master plan. It was for $100,000, I think. It might have been for more than that, but
There was one for 500.
there's one for like $400,000, but it's actually related to SCADA, so we were able to roll that in. So we're not actually going to defer that project. It's actually going to get done in the SCADA project, which is beneficial to the whole project overall.
Okay, thank you.
Jameson, Dana, do you have any questions or feedback for staff on this? All right, then I have a recommendation to forward this on to the city council to consider approval and award of the contract to E&M Electric and Machinery, DBA Wonderware, California. I have a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. All right, going back to agenda item 1A, presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda. I do not see any members of the public
No.
here.
There are none.
All right. Any commissioner communications? None. Okay. Consent agenda, consideration of approval of the minutes from the September 12th meeting. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chair can't make a motion, guys. All right. Item 3, consideration of Resolution 18-2 establishing the date, time, and location for the 2019-2020 regular meetings of the commission.
Can we move the location of the meetings to either Drake's or La Crosse?
I'm sorry. That won't be allowed.
Keep in
those are fine.
I think most of us are terming out anyway, so the next commission may need to change it, but motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. We did 4. Okay, item 5A, the Environment and Utilities Commission calendar. The next meeting will be on Monday, February 11th, 2019. And then item 5B, do we have any reports from city staff?
Yeah, I so do. Thank you, commissioners. I have a couple of things that I just wanted to update you on that are going on in our department. The Environmental Services Division recently rolled out an organics program here at City Hall in response to Assembly Bill 1826. It's the state's mandatory organics recycling law. Effective January 2019, all businesses that generate 4 or more yards of waste have to have an organics recycling program. So we started here at City Hall. We'll be rolling out the program to other city departments and divisions that have that threshold of 4 yards a week. So that would be the police department, the community center, and Station 45. So they will all have organics recycling programs that are mandatory effective January 1st. Ultimately, we'd like to have that program at all the city departments, but we're starting out with those that are required to do it, kind of doing that to see how things go and see if staff are receptive and, get the program going well. So far, it's going okay here at City Hall. We'll eventually roll that out also to our public areas at City Hall. So we'll have organics waste recycling ultimately for our rentals. So we have parties in here, things like that. The other thing that's going to hit residents soon is our waste management company is doing a major reroute to our residential routes. Throughout the years, they've just been adding to the routes as the city has grown and not really taking the opportunity to do a major reroute to make their routes more efficient. So they'd like to do that now. And in doing so, they'll be affecting our street sweeping schedule. So we'll do a bunch of outreach this month and into January for a switch to start January 14th at this point. That's our target date. That may shift, but that's what we're shooting for now. So we would start doing outreach next week. Waste Management would do direct postcards to every single resident that is affected by that. So they would have a postcard specific to their route change. For example, they were Wednesday now. It would tell them that their new route is on Thursday. And then we will also do as much outreach as we can, alert them to a website where they can see what their new route is if they don't check their mail, city highlights, different things like that, social media. So we'll do as much promotion as we can around both of those changes. Not all of the sweeping schedules for residents will be changed, but some will. As we shift the dates for trash collection, we want to make sure our sweeping happens after the fact, not the day of or not before, so we're having to do a little shifting there. A couple other things of note, we've been doing a lot of outreach to our customers, specifically a lot of the flat rate water customers who have high use, sending them letters alerting them to the fact that their home has a really high water use, with the goal of letting them know that they may have a leak or to revisit their irrigation schedule, things like that. So throughout the year, we sent letters every month to the top 20 high water use customers. We sent out a total of 110 letters. And of those residents, 26 actually did discover either a leak in their home that they corrected or found that they had an irrigation schedule that was out of whack. So we have a staff person that does WaterWise house calls. He went out to several folks' homes and changed their schedules. They didn't realize they were running their schedule for an hour and a half at each station all night long. And since they were on flat rate, it wasn't hitting their pocketbook yet. So we're trying to alert people to that so that they can make adjustments before they have to start paying for the water they use. And that's been hugely successful. We're estimating that just looking at those 1 month savings for those 26 homes is about 3 million gallons of water. Because there was some excessive usage that hundreds of CCF a month that people were using and didn't even realize they had a leak, for example. And lastly, I wanted to let you know that the computerized maintenance management system, CMMS, that you heard in September did go forward to council, and they did approve staff's recommendation to start the RFP process. I just wanted to update that on you. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, any future agenda item requests? Hearing none, I believe we are adjourned. Thank you.